Hi YouTube, Tamara here, and I'm here with my bloggy bestie, Starr from the Insomniac stream. Say hi, Starr. So today we are going to be talking about Starr's favorites with books and writing, the book chats with PenPaperPad. So my first question for you, Starr, is who was the author that got you interested in writing?
I'm so sure everyone's expecting me to say Stephen King,
Hi YouTube,
but you would be wrong.
I'm here with my bloggy bestie.
I have an echo. I think I have a window open.
I was like,
Sorry, I have the video open.
I feel like that. I think that just happened. Holy crap!
No, this is live TV is never good. But no, I would say Stephen King's influenced me the most. But the first book I ever remember reading, that impacted me big was Flowers in the Attic when I was 7. And then I finished the whole Dollinger series, and I moved on to the Castile series of Heaven. And then I read My Sweet Audrina, which blew my mind and my world apart. And I wanted to be
one of my favorites.
I wanted to be the next V.C. Andrews.
That's so cool. And a little disturbing that you read those at 7. But I think I read them when I was maybe 9 or 10, so I guess not that much better. But I read a lot of V.C. Andrews when my mom's friend gave her a bunch of the books, and Mom hadn't read them, so she didn't care if I read them. And I was reading through them, and I was like, holy crap, this is craziness.
Yeah. My mom was a big fan. When V.C. Andrews died, you know, a pen name took over, or the ghostwriter took over. My mom had this big button that she wore on her shirt that said, V.C. Andrews lives!
That's so cool.
Yeah, I actually did a thesis on V.C. Andrews my junior year in English.
Wow. Yeah, I really enjoy V.C. Andrews.
I
But I didn't read any of the pen name ones.
don't.
Wow. That makes it sound like writing hipsters. Yeah, I read V.C. Andrews before there was a pen name.
I liked V.C. Andrews before it was tall, okay? They're just regurgitating now. It's the same story over and over again, only not as well written and really toned down, because I think that the ghostwriter is now aiming towards a young adult teen audience.
That is true.
And it's like My Sweet Audrina. Holy shit balls, that book is fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Woo! I reread it once a year.
I remember the first time I read it, I was really sick. I think maybe I had flu or like some type of something, and I was in bed for a week or a week and a half. And I read this book, and you know how when you're sick and you have those crazy dreams anyway?
Yes.
My dreams were influenced by that book. I don't remember exactly what happened in the dreams, but I remember they were just as fucked up as the book was.
Yeah, that book was.
But I loved it, and I still do. It's definitely on my top 10 books that have influenced me.
Yeah, that was actually on my top 10 on my Facebook list. My Sweet Audrina. It disturbed me in a way that I've never recovered from. But you know, if you look at the V.C. Andrews' life, she had, I think it was MS, or she had muscular dystrophy, one of the two. And she had brain fart, had braces on her legs for most of her life, and then she actually ended up in a wheelchair for the majority of her life, and she wrote these books out of her head. Like, she had a very boring, plain, normal life. And she created all these stories. You'd think she had dysfunction in her life or something, but no.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that about her. I guess I didn't research any of her background. Hmm.
I did that paper on her. So, after reading those, I actually wanted to be a romance author for a long time. And then I got into Stephen King.
My mom is a big romance reader, so a lot of the books that I read when I was growing up and when I go visit her are romances. So I tried writing a romance and it just didn't feel authentic. It didn't work out.
I can write it as long as it's either part of an erotica or a horror. I can write wonderful romance between two characters, but they have to be in some type of peril. They have to be vampires. They have to be werewolves. They have to be during the zombie apocalypse, finally discovering that they love each other. I can't just write romance. But I love to read it. Oops, I just admitted that. I do. And not like the Harlequin cheesy ones, though. Those are good for mindless escaping kind of read when you just want an easy read just to escape life. I'll read a Harlequin. I'll admit it.
They're like cotton candy.
Yes. It's like, normally I want to have meat and potatoes, but sometimes you want the fluff on the side. I'm a big fan of Nicholas Sparks.
I can't stand behind Nicholas Sparks.
Back in the day, he wrote some good shit.
I like Nicholas Sparks before everyone else liked Nicholas Sparks, before he was cool.
Yeah, that's the second hipster statement I've made tonight.
I'm gonna keep score.
But it's true. It's like all these authors, if you read their older stuff before they were famous, it was better. It's like once they have fame and once they have that New York Times bestseller on their name attached to their book, they don't work as hard to make a good story anymore because they know that no matter what shit they put out, people will buy it. And they're probably under pressure from the editors, you got to write a book a year now, a book every 6 months.
Yeah, I think that probably the pressure really, it has to be excruciating. Is like right now as a writer, I have the luxury of time. And so I can play with it, I can have people read it and discuss it and just work with it more. But the more popular you become and the more people are reading you and the more expectations there are on you, you have to produce. And the people who romance is a really interesting genre in the sense that there are so many people who write 4 or 5 romances a year and they're just pumping those stories out. And a lot of them will do like the serial type of stories where there's 10 in that grouping of stories and they all kind of go in sequential order and you have to read them one after another. And they have these people, they're fans who are really interested in these stories and they want to read them. They want them as soon as possible. Give me my next book. Give me my fix. And there has to be so much pressure to do that.
Yeah, and then they start putting out books that aren't as good. So you kind of have to be a hipster. If you like a famous author, you have to be a hipster because they always end up. The only two I can say that haven't done that are Kuntz and King. They're still putting out really good shit. But I think they're so big and so famous, they make the rules. It's like, I'm Stephen King, bitch. I will take 3 years to write a book if I want. Fuck you.
How do you think that liking V.C. Andrews and then King has helped you as a writer or has influenced your writing?
I think that discovering the two of them so closely together at a young age is why I can't write romance with that hard. I'm not. I mean, I can read books that don't have horror in them, and it's fine. But when I write something, it doesn't feel complete without murder.
Murder, 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 murder.
Murder. I think. I don't know. I don't really think that they have influenced me so much as I don't want to sound like an asshole because I love Stephen King. I admire him and I respect him because I do know that he got turned down like 1,000 times and he wasn't published until his 30s and he kept at it. And that's admirable. I know, like his whole story about the alcoholism and the drugs and how he fought that, and then he wrote about it. So I admire him as a writer and I look up to him and he inspires me to keep going. But I really think my actual writing is more influenced by my own life events. But not everyone gets to have such a horrible, terrible, dramatic life as me.
Hey, you gotta take what you're given, And they always say, they with the capital T, write
Right?
what you know. So if you know drama, then write drama. Do you remember the first short story you ever wrote?
No. First short story I actually remember. I was like early junior high, and it was a short story about a girl who was with whose boyfriend. She didn't like her boyfriend, and he was an asshole to her. And she was secretly in love with her best friend, who was a guy. It wasn't a lesbian story. So there's something wrong with lesbian stories, but her best friend was a guy. And she was so in love with him, and she wanted to be with him. And she finally told him at his birthday party, and I remember, like, it was while Teen Spirit played in the background or something, by Nirvana. And then he loved her too, and then the boyfriend came in and killed everybody.
Wow.
There's a long history of the romance and murder,
Murder, murder, murder, murder, murder.
or like they say in that the movie with the guy from Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, murder, murder.
Well, moving right along, what is one thing that you wish you would have written?
Yeah, the True Blood series. I think, well, the True Blood series by Charlene Harris and then Laurel K. Hamilton's books with Anita Blake came out around the same time. Although the Anita Blake novels are way more erotica based and have a lot of sex in them, and True Blood's more romantical, one boyfriend at a time. Anita Blake's they kind of delve into the BDSM and stuff like that. Both good series, but they both were like the first of their kind to combine the vampire, werewolf, fairies, witches, all the supernatural into one nice big plot line, and the protagonist deals with all of that supernatural stuff and beings, and they also deal with both of them. All of the supernatural beings are known, so like the humans know they exist. I wish I would have been the first one to write the book where in a modern day urban setting people know there's werewolves and vampires and witches and fairies and they just deal with it, and I wish I would have been first. Full of funny and snark and sometimes sad. Life isn't always funny, and neither can I be. And you can find me on social media, and I've heard a rumor that somebody I know and somebody that I am are doing something coming up soon. That's going to be cool.
I don't know what you mean, but maybe.
What? We would never start a project.
Oh, by the way, in case anyone was wondering, I am drinking delicious red directly from my box.
Now the box says delicious red.
It's
So it's mine. Delicious red.
cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers. Not that anybody can, care or whatever, but I will be teaching 2 classes at a WriterCon. I'm really excited.
What's the date for that, and where is it at?
It's at the Pittsburgh Mills Library, and it's in October.
Well, what I'll do is, once we're done here, I will put that in the description, all the particulars. We can list your Twitter, which is @SleepyBard, your Facebook, The Insomniac Stream, your blog, theinsomniacstream.com, and the details for your conference. I really appreciate you coming on here and chatting with me about reading and your writing influences.
Oh, you're welcome. And just because this always makes Tamara laugh so much, I'll do it for everybody. Oh, that gets her every time.
Every time. It makes me laugh so hard. I don't even know.
Now that I've done that, please no stalkers show up at the WriterCon to punch me in the face or shoot me or anything like that.
I would hope that anyone who watches my videos has some type of sense of humor. They got lost on the internet. They wound up.
Heard it, Albuquerque. So, thank you for having me. Thank you for sitting through this.
Yeah, thanks for anyone who watches this and appreciates it for what it is. I think this is going to be a monthly or twice a month type of thing that's going to happen. If you guys like it, let me know by clicking like, writing some comments. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.
Happy nightmares.
Aloha, y'all.